Okay, guys, Deb Horn here at WeBuyHouses.com, and it's time for the Cash Offer Masterclass, episode number 11. Wait, that'd be 11. So let's jump into it. This is a cool house. It's in Fredericksburg, Texas, offered by Fazio Real Estate Solutions. You guys know I love Fazio. I love the content, the pictures that they show. It allows us to really look at the house and look at the opportunity. I just want to thank these guys at Fazio for being my victim today. I don't think they know it, but they send me these emails. They want to sell me these properties, and so I take a look at them. I see what they're worth and see if I would pay what they want to pay. And so basically, this one. Well, before I jump into that, let me just say, if you're a serious cash buyer and you're looking for deals in North Texas, contact Fazio. Jade Vaughn there, 214-646-9646. That's like we used to do it in the old days. We pick up the phone and call somebody before the text messaging and all that stuff. So call Jade Vaughn. Be glad to tell you about this property and other properties that they have available. So with that, we're going to jump into it. Look, I have no relationship with Fazio or any of these wholesalers. I'm basically just showing you their properties and the great opportunity they give us from an educational perspective is the photos and the information that allows us to put a cash offer value on these properties. And that's what we're here to do in the Cash Offer Masterclass, is to teach you this iterative process of looking at properties and saying, what would I pay for this? What could I pay for this? With the expectation of making a profit once I finish the project, renovate the project, rent the house, whatever I'm going to do with it. So, all right, Fredericksburg. Fredericksburg, by the way, cool place. It's, if you look at Texas, we're kind of down there in the middle. We're north of San Antonio, west of Austin there. That's Fredericksburg right there. If I jump right into the house, see, it's in the northeastern part of Fredericksburg. And if I jump into we didn't have all this stuff back in the day. It's just so cool. You guys have no idea how cool it is that you can just drop into a street and drive around it and look at it. And I don't know. We take all this for granted, I think. But there's the house, right? That is the house, right? I'm just gonna make sure that's the house. And yeah, that's the house. Okay, cool. We're looking at it there. Gonna look around at the street. What do we look out when we look out our window or our door? We're looking at that house. It's fine, perfectly fine. These are pretty typical Texas, kind of, I think we call these ranch style. We just always said ranch when it was kind of just a house like that. I don't know if you see those on ranches or not. I have no idea, but honestly, this is a pretty nice street. Look at that. They got a metal roof. Well, that's bold. I think that would be good. Would the hail just dent that, or would it just bounce off? I don't know. All right, back at the end of the street and our subject property right there. There you go. Hey, it's got a metal roof. Wow. There you go, man. That must tell us something. Metal roofs are big in Fredericksburg. All right, so we're going to jump into it. I've got my model ready. I've got the address in the model. I've got the square feet in the model. And then I went off on the adventure of figuring out what's the ARV. The wholesaler is telling me $690. Wow, that's a pretty expensive, potentially expensive property once it gets all fixed up. They're offering it for $349.5, which honestly does seem like a really good deal for this house. Let's jump into it. Now, here's the kind of crazy thing that you'll see. If we go into Zillow, now I basically I'm looking for three numbers that I can average together, compare to what the wholesaler is saying that the ARV is. What I'm seeing here on Zillow is 405. And the other thing I'm seeing on Zillow is this property is listed. And furthermore, on 8/22, a little bit less, about 20 days ago, the property was cut $35,000. So they were out there at 440, which is not if you go over here to Realtor, they're at 405. Property Radar was also at 4. I can't click on that because it shows the personally identifiable information. I want to say it was at 440. But basically, I'm seeing 405 on Zillow and 405 on Realtor. Realtor shows it pending. And you know what I think that pending is? Is probably the contract that these guys have on the property. And so Zillow doesn't show a pending offer, but it looks like Realtor might be aware of the pending offer. All right, so what we're going to go with, 440. That's what I had in Property Radar. And it's a little rich compared to what Realtor and Zillow are showing. I think that's a risk in what I'm doing here. There's a high potential that the ARV is 405 and not 440. But Property Radar was above 440. These guys are talking 690. It's a huge difference. And so what we're going to do in the model right now is we're just going to say 440 as our ARV. That's 181 square foot on that property of 2434. And there you go. We're on a 0.32 acre lot, and they don't have any price history. Well, they do have a price history, but no chart. They usually show a chart. That's okay. All right, so that's our starting point. 440 ARV, which means if the property was in excellent condition, meaning I didn't have to do any of these repairs, 000, I could pay 308, flip this property and make some money. They only want 349. So tells me that there's going to be some room in there for some repairs. So don't be too scared away by a crazy ARV from a wholesaler. Wholesalers are the most optimistic people you will ever meet. They're very optimistic about what a house might get sold for. I'm guessing that none of the houses on that street have ever sold for $690, but they think there's a potential there for that. But look, considerable discount. I think sometimes they just want to show you like, hey, this is half of what it could be worth. They take what they can sell it for and they double it and call it the ARV. I don't know. They don't do it. Fazio doesn't do that. Those guys are serious. They know what they're doing. All right, so let's jump back into the model. Wait. Oh, first, we have to go look at the pictures because now we're at a point where we're trying to figure out, okay, what's this thing really worth? Click on the pictures. Don't have a lot. Let's jump in. The house is, when was this built? It feels like the 80s. Yep, 84. Saw it right away. That's an 80s house. It's a clean house. The ceiling is neat. You don't see that very often. I rarely see that. And the floor is this light wood. Probably, it could be real. Could be real or a laminate. Not sure. Nice thin molding, baseboards, etc. White wall and a yellow wall. That yellow wall is the accent. Yeah, it's a clean house. Very clean house. Oh my gosh, we're back to these tiny photos that I can't zoom in on. That's a drag. Well, you guys can see it. It's a tiny little bedroom that tiny little people live in. I guess. With a chair in the corner and, I don't think anybody's living here. It doesn't look very lived in, to be honest. Oh, this is so frustrating. I can do this deal where I expand my screen, but at some point it gets like huge and you're seeing a blurry picture. Guys, when you put out a wholesale deal, include the best possible pictures. Like, so those didn't expand, but this one does. Metal roof. No vegetation in front of that house. You need some shrubs or something out there. Here again, look at this. I gotta blow it up. Tiled floors in the main living areas. I think, I'm not a huge fan of that for resale value. There's a step down from kitchen into the main living. That's interesting. Ceiling kind of slants upward. It's kind of got some cool volume. So it looks like a pretty cool house. Let's hope there's some better pictures. Yes, we got into there. Feels pretty 80s. I'm guessing this granite and backsplash is all from the 80s. Like, look, would you go in there and change that? I don't know. I mean, you could, but it's not that bad. That's kind of one of the challenges with a property like this is it's just not that bad. I might get rid of the yellows and the greens and stuff and just go to neutrals to resell it or to rent it. I'm thinking I need to resell this thing. This is a nice house. Look, we go into the blurry photos and that's what we can see. Blurriness. It looks like a castle with a stone floor. It really is a clean house. There's nothing wrong with this house. I think there's a lot of people that are going to walk into it and not appreciate it because, it's not what you would see. Like if you went and looked at new properties today, you wouldn't see anything like this. The ceiling, these floors, the wood framing or paneling, molding around that. I would literally go in here and just beigeify this place, beige walls or gray walls or something, white trim, just pop it out like that. I think that colors are where you get into trouble, because they're kind of personal, whether you like that or not, whether you want to live in a yellow house or not. Honestly, I don't think the floors suck that much. I could live with it. Very 80s. Look at this little trim around the windows. Very, very 80s. I think that's a space heater built into the wall, if I'm not mistaken. If it's not, it might be used to communicate with aliens. I don't know. Bedroom. Hey, look, we got some wood. Whether it's wood or real wood or laminate, it looks like a pretty good product. It's, the picture's not great, but that looks pretty good. And look, there's some people that aren't going to hate this yellow. It does look like there might be some popcorn up there, y'all. We know about the popcorn, right? That's very poppy looking ceiling up there. Side view. Is that a different bedroom? I think it is. Yep. It's got a bay window. Excuse me. All right, I think we're done. I think we're done with the pics. This house is in pretty good shape. Like, you could say, oh, I wish it was neutral in color or something like that. But as far as functionality, I didn't see anything really functionally wrong with that house. Let's see what they say. Fredericksburg gym, prime location, bright open layout, 2 versatile outbuildings. Remember, I've told you that we don't really value outbuildings, storage sheds, those kinds of things, workshops. They don't get a whole lot of love in the appraisal, but people like them. It's kind of a benefit to get them. No known issues. I like Blue Bonnet. Or it's great. This is Fazio. Excuse me. I like Fazio's way of doing this because this is kind of what I look for. If they think there's an issue, they'll say, do your due diligence. Do due diligence. And that means, dude, there's a problem. You need to look at that. This house looks pretty good. Honestly, as I look at this, and now the fact that, okay, it's on the market at it was on the market at $440. It didn't sell. How long has it been on the market? It's been on the market for 162 days. That's half a year. Well, almost half a year. It's a bit. And usually what happens, if a house is overpriced, it's on the market for a while, the showings slow down, the realtors, they've all seen it, they've all taken clients there, they've gotten feedback from multiple clients, or they're not as excited about as it was when it was a new listing. And so everything slows down. And then the seller starts to kind of freak out, especially if they need to move or if they, need the money or whatever from the transaction. So they've come down to 405, and we're looking at a wholesaler that's offering at 349. And my model, if there's nothing wrong with the house, is at 308. So even if I threw in, hey, let's do some cosmetic work on this house, it'd take me like 296. It's such a big house that number's throwing things off. 301. They want 349. So yeah, look. Honestly, I think I don't really see repairs that are needed. I could kind of say, I'd like to get rid of the yellow walls or something, but that's not really a needed repair. That's more like cosmetic, to kind of make it more attractive to a broader group of home buyers. I think that would definitely work. If you go in there and make the walls beige or gray and trim white, and people are going to like that house. It's a very nice house. I think ultimately it's worth that 308. Let's just give it credit for being a nice house. Didn't need any repairs. What we're really fighting here is the ARV. I just don't know if there's any justification for that 690 ARV in that type of neighborhood in Fredericksburg. And I didn't see it on Zillow or Realtor or Property Radar or anything that justified that. I think the ARV on that property is around 440. And so max retail I would pay for it is 440. 308 is what I'd want it for wholesale, so I can make money off the transaction. Now, is 349 a good deal for this property? Heck yeah, it is. Heck yeah, it is. I mean, we think it's worth 440. Somebody could buy this from this wholesaler for 349 and have some equity in this house from day one, I think. And they can go ahead and repaint the walls. So is it a great investor deal? No, not really. It should be around 308. Is it a good deal? I think it is. At 349, somebody could really do well with this house, I think. So let's just stop right there. That's where we're at. ARV was kind of inflated. That when we actually get the actual ARV of maybe closer to 440, that took our cash offer down to around 308 with no repairs, no updates, no nothing. And that was kind of the issue that we had here. Now maybe they got it for 308, or maybe they got it for 320 or 330 or something like that, and they've added their wholesale commission on top of their what they've offered for the property. And so it takes about $3,000 or $4,000 of marketing to get a deal like to contract signing. And so these guys are doing the marketing. They've incurred costs. They've incurred labor, time, effort to go get this thing under contract. And perhaps, I don't know if this is a great rental or not, but perhaps as a rental, the thing would need to rent for close to $3,000 to really. Do we have a rent estimate on Zillow? No rent estimate. Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, they got a pending sell. It's not at 405 though. They got a pending sell from these guys way below 405 if these guys are offering it for 349. So, is it a good deal? Yeah, I think it is a good deal. Is it a great cash deal for flip to make optimal profit? No, it's not. We're about $30,000 too high, or $40,000 too high. All right, well, that's it. That's it for today. Chapter 11. Episode 11 is in the books, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hey, look, that calculator that we're using, you can get that at cashoffermasterclass.com. Just fill out the form, Join my community. Let's hang out together. If you've got a wholesale deal, send me an email with photos and everything that you can tell me about it, and we'll do an episode about your wholesale deal. It'd be fun. We'll do that together. And just remember that we're out here on YouTube at WBH Dev is the name of my channel. And We Buy Houses Dev out here. And so just hope that we can continue to work together to become better real estate investors and make better offers and make money in this business. So I've enjoyed spending some time with you today, and I hope you have too. Go to cashoffermasterclass.com. See you soon. Take care.